Hey, hello. It's Friday and it's the 1st of May. So I know in some places that is a holiday, but because like in Terminus, Terminus DB HQ, we have so many like because we have a super remote team. So actually, it's difficult to decide at which day to have holiday because I base in UK and then we don't have the holiday today, but like it will be next Friday. So yeah, so it's kind of funny. So that because where I'm from, Hong Kong, we have the 1st of May as a holiday. So yes, I don't really mind that much. I even do the World of WoqlCraft during Easter. So for me, it's like because this is so enjoyable doing this, so I don't feel that I have to take a holiday. Maybe like if I travel again, then maybe at that time I would have to take holidays. Maybe I would pre-record, but like for now because I'm staying at home and I love doing it, so I would so streaming for me is not so it's not I won't take holiday for that. So yeah, I hope you are having a good day today, and it's the end of the week as well. So tomorrow is Saturday. So yeah, so today actually what I want to do is to wrap up from what we have done last week. So I don't know, it's like if any of you are like new to this. So yeah. Oh, and if you're like watching it like now on Twitch, please say hi in the chat. So I know that you're there, and also tell me whether like if you're new. So if you're new, then I know that I have to maybe give more explanation, and maybe also tell me like whether you're new to Wacko as well. So that would be great. But anyway, so last time we was working on the actually like the previous few weeks we was working on the schema.org schema, and we have built a schema, and I do believe that last week I showed you that we finally fixed all the problems with the schema, because we like when we create the property object, so it should not be like a separate object like a doc type. It shouldn't be a doc type. It should be a property object, so it's different. So I was a bit confused because it's a very complex schema, and this is kind of like more advanced usage, because like I think the easiest would be like you just load in the CSV and then build a graph from there. But this is more like you do it programmatically. So I'm using the Python client here. So it's WoqlPy. Um, so yeah, you can see that like a lot of things that if you load in a CSV, the Terminus DB backend would help you to deal with it. You can use all these nice courses like IDGen and cars to help you to clean the data. So it's easier to build a graph from there. But this is kind of like more like another way of demonstrating how to do it programmatically. So especially when you have a schema that is, quite is because we read the schema from the CSV that we download from schema.org, and we build schema from there. So it needs to be done programmatically, and of course I choose Python because I'm a Pythonister, and WoqlPy is actually quite good. It's not because I I work with a big chunk of it, but it's also is I think that for data, like if you're doing data analysis of machine learning, that would be very useful. So yeah, so I think that's the schema. So you can see that what we have done is that um, we have reading the data, and then because inside the type there's also some objects that actually we want it to be represented as data type. So that's why we late like listed it here, and then we build a map to it, so it mapped to actual like data type in Terminus DB. And then when we construct it, if it's a simple object, then we would add an extra property that kind of hold the value of it, so we can map it back. And we build a schema object, and and also because we have all these like uh, subtypes relations, so we have to build the subtypes relations from here. And this is for domain and ranges, that if you have multiple domain and ranges, we would make a parent of that, and then all the other all the domain will sit under a there will be a subclass of these parents, because that we don't allow like multiple domain and ranges. This is not a very good idea, and it may cause some problems in in the graph. So the the most the most legit way I would say to do it is to wrap it with a parent domain and a parent range, and then put all your multiple domain and range as a subtype of it. Let me fix my light because it's a bit funny, the background. Yeah, because like I think the lighting changes quite a lot when it's daytime and at night, because obviously I do this, actually if you don't know, I do this in my bedroom. So I have windows luckily, so it's just like difficult to have a very consistent lighting. So maybe I would have to think about maybe close the curtain next time. But anyway, so yeah, so this is the, the why we are doing this domain and range kind of thing here. And also for the object property, so like we won't build it as a doc type. So you see here that would just like from this we would just say that this is an object property, and then we would just put the domain and the range for that object property. And so we have different cases. So if we have multiple range and multiple domain, we have to do what I just explained. If it's just a range or domain, we just like put it there. And if there isn't any, you just skip that step. And so yeah, and after we have built all those WoqL query object, we would put use the execute passing the client. So using the WoqL client to talk to the terminus DB, and the query we got executed in the database, and then the schema we got built. So this is what all this what all this is doing. So all this actually is available on the GitHub repo. So the link should be in the description if you're watching it afterwards. So yeah. So and then this is schema. What we have done is actually we have used this is a web curve crawler that we grab all this microdata from a web page. So I use mine as an example. So it got an event in there, and so yeah, so this is the bit that we read those microdata from the web page, and then after that we would get a dictionary back, and then from that dictionary in Python, then we would have a recursive function, go like layer by layer down, and then just like extract it to the type, and then following the schema we put that in. So this is something that I think I didn't show last time, is this bit that we have to you know uh, have declared a data object to put in here. So we can't just put in like the daytime here. We have like here we can't just put in the daytime. We have to wrap it in this like curly bracket thing. This I think it would be good if we don't have to do this. If we kind of have a another way, cleaner way of doing it, either guess what it is by the user input, or we can have a optional parameters that people can specify there. So because this is not very pretty, this is kind of more or less like a small section of a JSON LD. So we want to avoid that. So maybe in the next patch, or I'll try to work on it like later, or maybe this weekend to fix this. So like when we call a property in the Python client, then it would just like determine this um, directly what type it should be, rather than like you have to declare it, or maybe give an option for the user to declare it with the parameter. So yeah, so this is like going through the data, by recursing like layer by layer down, and then once we hit the layer that we have that pure type, then we just like put that there. But otherwise, it would just like go one layer down and add another object there, another property object. So yeah, this is basically what we've done, and I hope this example is kind of, so I hope that first of all, the schema.org schema is going to be useful in your project, because I know that it's a popular thing. A lot of people are using that schema.org schema for various things. So I hope that's going to be useful. That if if you want to have it in your terminus DB, you want a graph of it, then you can just like download this code and run it with Python. And also, like, I hope this the kind of give you an example of how you can load a website, because like these could be other things, right? Because I use this Python library called Extract because they support other things as well, not just microdata, maybe make microformatting, RDF, other forms, RDFA, other forms of metadata from your web page. Um, so yeah, you can basically follow this example and do something. So it could be not like any event as well. It could be anything that is declared by schema.org. Hey Eddie, hello. Hey, I think that's Luke, Terminus DB. Yeah. So we have a lot. Yeah, I'm happy that we have some people here. Yay! Yeah. So I think this kind of wrap up the schema.org schema, and I really hope that you can do some awesome thing. So if you do, please, tell me on Discord. So join our Terminus DB community Discord. The link, the invite link is actually public in our website, terminusdb.com. So if we have a really lovely community there. Please like join there. You can try things yourself, and if you have any questions, trust me, there will be somebody who like, yay, oh yeah, Cal's a friend, yay. Yeah, so yeah, trust me, if you join a community, then like ask any questions, somebody will answer your question like in a very short period of time. Like I'm quite surprised. I also use other other softwares and stuff, and if I have a questions, I hope that I will find an answer on Stack Overflow. If don't, then I'll try to find a community and ask questions. But not all of them are like our community that people just like help you in a very short period of time. So yeah, please join the Discord server. And if you have anything awesome, last week I believe, or the no, actually the week before that, we have a 5-star Terminator. Chris was giving a mini webinar about his project, and it's awesome. And then he will be on next week in our webinar as well. So if you're interested about people other than the team, that are actual users, then please join, and then you would know more from a different perspective. So yeah, so this is schema.org, and we got to start something new today. That's really exciting. So um, so yeah, let me go to the flights tutorial. So okay, first of all, I think I should explain a little bit about what this does. So the flight tutorial is all started. We have a Terminator, Raymond, in the Discord channel, Discord server, that he have this idea of putting the open flights data into Terminus DB, and I think this is a very good use case. I think I did had an idea before that I want to maybe track all the flights before the pandemic to see like whether the flights are helping it spread or something like that. And but I didn't get my head around to do it. I think this is a really good start that we try to put the flight data in a graph so we can map out how the aviation traffic it is like in the globe. We will get some insight from it. So we got the data from openflights.org. Well, the data, like to be fair, is not the most updated one. So if you're doing a commercial project, maybe you want something better. But as an example, this is good enough. And then I think we'll start from this, and then maybe I think maybe if we got a chance, we can see if we can apply this to a more commercial, like more clean data, and maybe also the flight schedule, because this is not available in the open flights. It's only generic routes. So you can't have an actual schedule. So I think that would be interesting to look at the schedule as well, like how things evolve, before the pandemic, during the pandemic, and maybe afterwards to see if things get back to normal, any changes in the traffic and things like that. So yeah, that would be like something to think about. But right now we are using the openflights.org data, so anybody can just go there and download. So I download the data. So what I've downloaded is that they have these like country database. So basically, it's just the name and the code of all these countries that is of interest. So maybe they have an airport at least, I think, or maybe they have an airline or something like that. Airline database. So these are the airlines that is registered. So you can see that there's the dates that there's quite a lot of them. And you can see that the messy thing about it, because like they may have multiple names, so if they have aliases, but luckily we have some code to identify them. But the thing is, like, I really don't like they have two set of codes, and neither one of them can identify all airlines. So some airlines got the first, the IATA code. The other, like, some of them only got the ITA code. Some of them only got the I don't know, like ICAO code. So you will see, like, when I show you the program, that you see like what I mean. Call sign. We don't care about the other thing that much. We only want to identify the airlines because we want to know, like, who is running that flight, that route. So yeah. So these are the examples. So you can see that, like, they have different names. Airport. So airports, they have more information. Not just the name. They also, well, which country or which city they are in. The funny, codes, and this time it's like 3 and 4 letters. So before it's like either 2 letters or 3 letters. They also have the location, so latitude, longitude, and even altitude. So some airport may be like super high, like, I don't know, some airport may be, at the high mountain, and some airports may be very low altitude, like, maybe the Schiphol airport at Amsterdam. So maybe that's a low altitude airport. So yeah, so time zones, well, that's something that maybe in the future we'll care about, because when we look at the schedule, we want to know what time there are flights, and even we may, for example, if you work for a service like Skyscanner, right, you need to know when is the flight, and then whether your potential customers can, your user can, train, have a connection there, because they may need like 2 or 3 hours layover, so like, so that they could, safely catch the next leg. So that's very important. So you don't want to calculate the time wrong, because people may miss their flight. So that's important when you do the schedule calculations. Time zones, yeah, that's important. You don't want to mess up. So yeah, so that's the data. So, and the last thing, the final thing that of course we care about is the route. So the flight. So which airline is running it, from where to where. So this is basically what it says. Stops. It may be useful in the future, not right now. So so all these are downloaded from openflight.org, and they are in a DAT format file. So this is a funny file. I don't know why they call it DAT. It's actually like a CSV. So it's comma separated. So each row is separated, like it's a new line. But the thing is, the catch is that they don't have header. So that would be a little bit of a problem, because if we have a CSV with a header, we can directly load into Terminal CB. So like our bike example. So if you go to the repo, you can also see our bike example. So we will have the CSV, right? We can, when we load it in. So when we load it in, we can, you see, we call them by the column name. So we don't have the column name in this DAT data. So that could cause a problem, that we can't do it in the same manner as the one that we do with the bike tutorial. So first of all, let's talk about schema. So schema. So we have, well, of course, we have some objects. So you can see that all of them, we have the doc type. So what happened with that? Like, we have these. This is kind of like a parent doc type of everything. That is kind of just means that this is a legit thing in the graph. And it also got a time span. So so we are not using that at the moment, because we don't care about schedule yet. We don't care about like how things change over time. But in the future, then this would be useful, because if we have an entry that it changes, let's say the flight got changed, all these. So there is actually a time. So you may want to look that down. So that's why this is in the schema, but we are not using it today for our starter code. So no. Um, so country is, well, country is a subclass of it. So you can see that. So all these information actually are a subclass of this parent entity, and because this is this has a lifespan, have a, it will expire. So all these information can have a time constraint. So when is it valid, when is it not? Um, so yeah, so these, so we can go through them one by one. So it's like we have the country. So country is a class, well, label and its description, like we had in our bike tutorial. It's also got like two properties. Well, we need the ISO code and the FIP code, which is available in the data. So good, because otherwise we have to find it somewhere else. Um, and for airlines, well, we have the airline, and the property would be like which country it registered in. So we want to know what this airline is registered in. So for example, like British airline is registered in the UK, things like that. Um, airport is useful because when we route out the flights, then we need to know where it fly from, where it fly to. So airport, we need that, and then so which country this airport is in. I think you can also maybe like have more like fine tune like which city this is in. But I think because sometimes, for example, London's airport, they are not like, well, they serve London mainly, but they are not actually in London. So it's a bit difficult to draw the line. And so yeah, so maybe country is easier because, well, there's some like funny country borders that is, debatable, but like I hope no airport's gonna near that, so it's gonna be fine. We kind of know which airport is in which country. Um, flights. So all the flights got a few information that we want to know. Of course, like where it departs from, where it will be arriving, and what airline operates this flight. Um, so this is not a very, if compared to schema.org, this is not super complicated, quite straightforward. But this showcase how you can build that, beautifully with the WoqlCraft. So yeah, so this is. Oh, sorry about like I'm not live coding. Actually, I didn't started to write this code. I think my colleague Kelvin started it. So this is the schema that he built. But I created the low data one, so kind of like I've read through it. So so yeah, this is the schema build. So you also want to like have um, other check functions to check that you generate the ID correctly, and so this is all these like functions that do that. So you can see all this stuff. So yeah, so this is like loading a data not from our file, because this is another file that I do believe is, yeah, this is not our data. So yeah, so just ignore this for now, because we gotta do it in a separate code. So we are not loading the data from this data source, because like it's only contain like some small sets of data, so we don't want that. Um, so yeah, so ignore this bit. We gotta do it in another file. So we gotta load in our data from the from this. Oh my god, from this openflights.org. So you see, this is already like a lot of things. So this is a not so beautiful way of doing it, I would say. Because you can see that I will explain why this is not the most beautiful way of doing it. So what I gotta do today is to show you a way that works, and hopefully next week I gotta show you a way that is better or more beautiful. So we just do that step by step. Hey, hello. So we have a dam dam 00. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your Twitch name. So um, yeah, I'm glad that there are people in the chat. I'm so happy. Okay, so yeah, so these are all these headers. So like I said before, the data file that we have downloaded doesn't have any header. So that's the bit that kind of forbid me from doing like the bike tutorial route that load directly. So we have to do all this like tedious way of doing it. So we're looking for a way to improve that, and maybe next week I will have something to show you. Hopefully, I can't guarantee because I don't have a plan yet. But yeah. So yeah, these are all these information that I got. So like in the README, this is a good explanation, but I copied from the website, from the openflight.org website. So I basically just put them in a list. So when we use pandas, because well, I use pandas. So when we use pandas, we can just like put it in as a column name. So that's a good thing about pandas, but you still have to write this, and I'm not a big fan of doing that. I was like copy and paste, and but this is how I do it. So you can see that like I use pandas to read all these CSV, and we'll pass in the names. These are the column names. Pass it in there, and well, we don't have an index column, so don't do that. And we have all these four pandas data frame available afterwards. And I write an helper function. So this is clean ID. So what it does, because like, well, this is a world that if IDGen doesn't exist, then this would happen. So basically, I write an IDGen myself. So that's why I said this is not a beautiful way of doing it. It works, but it's not the best way of doing it because, sorry, my mouse got crazy. Because like this should be done beautifully with IDGen, but I just decided to do it myself. Um, so uh, so clean ID will take in an input as an identifier, and the prefix you can also pass in a prefix. And well, this is just checking if it's none, then don't do that. So I am kind of like I don't know sterilized. I don't know what's the term of doing this. Like you basically remove all these special characters like commerce. Sometimes they have commerce. I don't know, in the name of the airport, or maybe sometimes you just have something that is not a alphabet or digit or like yeah. So you remove them. So this is how you do to remove them. So basically, you check whether like that character is a number or a alphabet, or if it's like a space or underline underscore, then remove it. Otherwise, just keep it. And afterwards, I want to replace the space with underscore and keep them lowercase. This is how I generate the ID. It works, but if we have IDGen, maybe we should use IDGen. So yeah, like if prefix is none, just put that back here out. If there's prefix, so add the prefix as a lowercase. Um, so like and afterwards, I load a country. So um, you see, this is the pattern here. Um, so we would insert an object, and then with a label with it. So we'll pass in an ID, and then what kind of object it is, and a label. So you can see that. So this will be generated here. So my nose is killing me. Sorry. um, yeah. So we generate this country ID by using the clean ID that I talked about before, and I add the prefix because actually there was a bug yesterday that I found that if I don't have this prefix, some airlines and the country got the same name for some reason, or airport. I don't know. It's just like, well, you won't name your airline or your airport by the country name. I don't know how it got messed up, but so that's why adding a prefix to avoid that they have the same ID, then it will create a problem in the graph. So that's why I need the prefix. And so this will become the country ID when we execute this, function. Then we have the country ID to work with. Um, that would be the ID is a country, and the label would just be the name. And so if there's an ISO code, also add the property. So again, so this is something that I talk about. Like we have to wrap that property object in this kind of manner. So this is not even an object type property. This is data type property. This is a string, but you have to wrap it up like this. So ideally, it should be in the client, it should be able to detect it as a string. Just put it as a string. But for now, we still have to wrap it up. So yeah. Like same for the flip code. We just like, if it's not none, we just like input it as a property. So that's the country bit that's done. So for airline, it's slightly complicated because let's look at this bit. So because I want to check whether the country is the valid country. So whether the country that we associate this airline with is a legit one in the graph. So I pass in um, the list of country that we have um, we have seen in this previous operations on the country, and yeah, and then like well, I pass it as like I pass that in as I passed in the ID as a list, so that's passed in here. And so when we kind of apply that, oh, by the way, airline, I do the same thing with the clean ID, but the prefix is airline. So when I pass it in, so it's the same thing. Check whether like things are normal, because remember the airlines, we have this funny bit at the beginning that's unknown, so we don't want unknown. So I would remove that. I would rather it not be in the graph for now, because it would cause some confusion. Having an unknown airline. So again, we build an object with just ID. So this is the ID that we created with the clean ID. It's an airline, and the label would be the name. So quite straightforward, similar to what we have done with country. But this time, because we want to add the property register in as the country in there, so we need to record the ID of that country. So do the same operation that you have done with generating that ID. Check whether that's in the list. If so, then you're safe to put in this property. So after you've done, you just return the object. So we are actually collecting all these query objects. We haven't executed them yet. So far, we haven't pushed that in the database yet. We're just collecting them. So so you can see that we collect them in this pandas series. So here, so you can see that it applies, then runs, and it would just like give me back a panda series. Oh, by the way, and drop NA as well. Like I want to remove all the none, so kind of otherwise it will cause problem. Okay, ooh, quite a lot, is it? And airport, similar manner, exactly the same thing, but instead of the register in, we have situated in. So I don't want to explain too much. It's very similar to the airline. So load flight. So this is another big chunk that can do a lot of work here. So this time the way of generating the ID is that because we need so remember the flight, we need more than just the name to identify, because I don't have a name for the flight yet. So what I gotta do is that I gotta take the airline and well, where it departs from, where it's going to. So take these three and then use these three to identify the flight. So no two flight. Well, you could like for example, the flights from Dublin to let's say London Stansted. There's maybe 3 flights per day going that route, but we are talking about per route. We don't talk about the time yet. So of course they will be in a different time. So but right now we just talk about routes. So these three actually I consider one because they're same routes, run by the same airline from the same airport to the same airport. So so yeah, you can see that we use these three as the identifier. So the airline, the source airport and the destination airport. So these three will be the identifier, and separate them by just underscore. A quick way of generating a unique ID. Again, IDGen should be able to deal with it for you. So like I said, this is not the most beautiful way of doing it. This is just a way that it works. So so when we generate the object, same, we have the ID that we generated. It's a flight. So for the label, so this time I actually did a similar thing, right? So I just it's almost like so if you do it directly from a CSV using the like the bike tutorial, it's like a coin card. So this formatted string is the same as the coin card. So flights by which airline and then from. Actually, I have a spelling mistake here. um, okay, from which airport to which airport. Okay, so this is the funny bit that I talked about before. Is So if you look at the documentation for the route, so you see that here, airport ID is either IATA or ICAO. It depends on which one they have. So there's no set of code that could be the key. You have to check. So luckily, it's either 3 letters or 4 letters, or 2 or 3 in the case of the airline. So yeah, like yeah, you can see that. Yeah, so this is documented somewhere. Um, so that's why I'm checking here. That's if it's 4 letters, that is a IATA code. So I'll use the IATA to look up afterward. So if it's a 4 letter, it's an ICAO code. If not, then probably it doesn't exist. So just don't do that if it doesn't exist. So if it exists, then use the key that I found out before to look up for that airport. So this is filter. So this is what this does, is that it would just give me actually it would be a series of true or false. So whoever matches this this lookup ID, either ITA or ICAO, that matches whoever in the airports that matches with our airport ID here, then it will be a true. So if there's any true, so if there's any that matches, so if I apply the filter to our data frame, then we will get the data frame back, assuming that it will be only one, or there'll be multiple, but they will be the same. So I would just grab the ID of it. So just give me the first one. They should either be the same or just one. So give me the first one. And yeah, and then you can add the property there with the ID. So this is how you look up the ID of the airport. Again, not the best way of doing it. We may have a better way of doing it, but we'll figure it out in the future. So this is the departs. We're finding the airport that it flies from. So do the same thing with the airport that it flies to. So it's basically the same thing. The only thing difference is because it arrives, not departs. Um, so yeah, operated by, very similar. The difference is the code is like either 2 letters or 3 letters. And so we are using airline, not airport, so different data frame. And also, of course, the properties are different, so it's operated by. So so that's it. So that's I give you a quick showcase of what we can do with this open data, but we haven't run the code yet. So let's try that. Um, okay, so let me bring back the yeah. So you can see that I was doing this all night yesterday. um, let's clear it. See what we have, what state we're in right now. So you see that, or we already have the pipeline. So what we got to do is we got to delete it and start from scratch. Okay, yeah, let's delete it. And let's go back to the schema. So I got to take this low data away because this is just some dummy data to show you how it works. So I got to create schema, not loading the data. So I got to run this code to generate the schema. So let's bring the terminal back up. Yes, please. So Python. So by the way, I'm in the environment. Oops. I mean the environment that is got the Python client. I think it's, oh yeah, no, now it's the open 19. So it's the patched version. I just released a patch, I think, earlier this week. Yeah, time is just confusing for me right now because well, I stay at home all the time, so it's confusing. So yeah, I think I released a patch earlier this week, and open 19 is gonna be for the ID gen and the cast. You don't have to wrap things like the property. I think the next patch will be you don't have to do that for the property as well. But anyway, so um, so okay, I have that installed. So you need that, otherwise your code won't work. So Python, and I gotta run the flight schema. Yep. So let's see. Right, it's running. So let's go to so it should be done. Let's go to our console and refresh. you see, yeah, we have the fly plane, and let's see what schema do we have. So you see, we have all these like airline, airport, country. This is the, like I said, the mother entity of it. So it's like so you can see that they have subclasses. Um, Flights. Yep. So they are all yeah. So basically, it's these four things with a kind of a mother entity that kind of govern the valid time of it. So properties, you can see that we have the FIP code, ISO code that belongs to the country. We have lifespan. Well, that's not something that we deal with for now. We don't deal with the time yet. And arrives, there's the airport that is related to the flight. Departs as well. Operated will be an airline that is related to the flight. And register in, those are the airlines where it register the country, and airport where which country the airport is in. So you have that. So yeah, so let's try loading the data as well. So it should work. Load data. So this may take a while because, like I said, this is just a way that works. It's not beautiful. It's the pandas, like the way that I use panda to deal with it is not the most optimal way of doing it. Because you can see that I just use an apply and to go through the data and then build things just from scratch. And the thing about Python is like it's not async, so it doesn't have the multiple like multi-threaded. We have the so it's we have the guild lock, so we can't do multi-threading. So it's actually less efficient than doing it directly in the Terminus DB database. So I'm not expecting it to be super fast. You can see that it's like reading CSV is super slow. So it may take a while. So I don't know whether like I have time to show you. It's like 45 minutes. Like it's well within an hour time, but because I don't code live today, so it's just like information overload. I'm just running through the code with you. If you have any questions, please type in chat. I'm happy to answer anything. Um, so yeah, if there's no questions, I think I'll just make it a shorter video today. We may do something longer next week because we gotta improve this. this is this is something that works, but not something that is beautifully done. So we would improve this to make it work faster. Code, the code will be cleaner and it's more beautiful. And so this all actually, let me show you where you can find these code so you can try it yourself. Um, right, so I will just let my terminal run while I show you this. So let's go to GitHub, Terminus DB. So by the way, if you haven't, give us a swish star. This is the way to go. So we just have somebody who gave us the 500 star, and that person win the socks. So we're thinking about doing that again with another number. So yeah, so maybe you'll be the lucky one. Just like give us a swish star. It's a way to support the open source project. So uh, we only count the stars in Terminus server. You can start all of the things. You're very welcome. But if you don't start the Terminus server, it doesn't count. So so please. And yeah, so Terminus tutorial. So it's like, I think, yeah, you can also access from the top. So you see all the tutorials are here. So they also, like, I've tried to make it a bit organized and have a directory here. So this is the, I think what the best way to do is to click here, flight tutorial. So yep. So you see like all these. Actually, these are all from from the openflights.org. So but I just realized that it's easier to just put it here for people to read, and you can download the code here with the data files. And of course, you need Terminus DB. You need the Terminus client Python. So how to install them actually is here. So you can get the Docker image, you can get the Python client. So yeah, so in the README of the tutorial, it will actually teach you how to do that or where to find it. Yeah, that's a cool use case. Yeah, thank you. I think thanks Raymond on our community. Um, the first the videos of Python Zero to Hero actually is actually on my YouTube channel, but I don't have a handle yet. I think you need 100 subscribers to have that. So I put it on my website. So my website is cheuk.dev, cheuk.dev. So all my videos actually is linked there, so you can find all of my streaming tutorials there. And yeah, random star. So just try your luck and give us a star. You will have a cow duck socks. Yep. So yeah, that's everything that I want to talk about. So thank you so much for staying with me today. I think yeah, have a nice holiday, have a nice weekend, and Sunday we'll have the Python Zero to Hero tutorial again. So that would be teaching how to write functions. So that would be exciting time. So you see, I use functions a lot here. Everything is wrapped in a function, so that's very useful to become a Python, a Pythonista. You have to learn all this, and I will try to teach you as as much as possible, as detailed as possible, so you would be good to go when you're done with all these tutorial. And also tonight, I want to give a shout out. So tonight for me, at I think it's 19 UTC. So for me, UK time is at 8 p.m. Naomi will be also teaching Python. So if you you have a little bit basic Python background, what she's gonna teach is a little bit deeper, but still very it's not that difficult. I think she would do an amazing job in explaining, I think it's talk about Python object and topics and maybe also decorators, things like that. I can't remember, but it's definitely I will be there. I'll be there watching Naomi. So please, if you're interested in Python, go there to watch her. So yeah, I think I can also I don't know how those raid things work on Twitch, but maybe I'll put the link to her channel in the chat afterwards, so you can follow her and watch her tonight with me. So yeah, so thank you so much, and I'll see you on Sunday for the Python tutorial.